And now, our feature presentation.
I like it spooky.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of I Like It Spooky Horror Podcast. I'm Brian.
I am Clint, and we are plugging in the green rotary phone. We're going to plug it back in, and we're placing a call to Billy in our continued one-eyed look into the cold Canadian madness of Black Christmas. But first, let's get to the news.
So I got a couple news episodes here, and the first one, both of them are actually from iHorror.com, which fits into this episode because their logo is a one-eyed iHorror. I just now am noticing that.
Maybe it's influence from Billy from Black Christmas.
So the first one is A Bloody Axe Wound, a Jeffrey Dean Morgan horror comedy, releases its trailer this month. And it looks like the killer's got a machete, kind of a wooden mask, but a burlap sack over his head. It says The Bloody Axe Wound has been released, the trailer. Yeah, it looks fun.
I wonder if since he played Negan, because he's been in several things before that, but now that he's been Negan, I wonder if when anybody looks at him, they're just going to see Negan, no matter if he's doing a rom-com or a slasher film or whatever.
So yeah, I don't know if he's the killer, but the director is Matthew John Lawrence, who did Uncle Peckerhead, and it explores what happens when a teenager struggles with her family's gruesome legacy of filming real-life murders.
I think Peckerhead was pretty gory, wasn't it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either, but yeah, I think it was pretty gory. The film follows Abby, a teen caught between the demands of her murderous family business and her own personal awakening. As Abby navigates the complications of her first crush, she begins to question her family's violent traditions, leading to a clash of bloodshed and identity.
Sounds involved.
And of course, you can check out the trailer on iHorror.com. It's from RLJE Films, which is, they do a lot of the Shudder stuff. So they have some pretty good stuff.
They also re-release a lot of cool old stuff. Like last year about this time, I finally sat down and went back and watched the entire, I think it was 2 seasons, but they were like 18 episodes a season or whatever of Crime Story.
And then my other thing from iHorror, this breaking Reanimator news will have you on pins and needles.
Ooh.
So the picture is just kind of a green silhouette, but it says 40 years of Reanimator, and there's a 40 in there. It says there is a mystery afoot, and iHorror is dying to tell you about it, but we can't, at least not for now. Ignite Films has given us and you an exclusive, tantalizing clue that might prompt your powers of deduction. And it's just that picture.
The second you said Reanimator, he'd take my money. I'm in. Let's go. Can I help? Like, they have to see all of these old franchises being kind of reignited through legacy. The second you said that, I thought, The Substance just came out, which I haven't seen. I know you've seen it, but just based off the imagery, I kind of get the impression that it could fit in that Reanimator kind of universe. So I wonder if maybe they saw the success of that and thought, hey, fuck it, let's pull the trigger and do Reanimator Part 4.
The other thing, if you go further down in the article, it says Ignite Films and Eagle Rock Pictures have teamed up to launch an award-winning home video label dedicated to restoring and preserving classic films for collectors and future generations. So I don't know if Reanimator's getting a new movie or a new box set or a restoration. That's one of those films that I don't know if it's got a decent release.
I don't know, because you get more into that world of 4K and Blu-ray and UHD and special steel covers and all that. So I honestly couldn't tell you. I just know that they're awesome movies and they have toys that I have. Give me more.
Whether it's a new movie or a new box set, we're going to be spending money.
Correct. And that would be a great segue into poor, but I got some news I got to talk about too. And both of them are things that, well, the one might make you poor. Just a quick blurb I saw on bloodydisgusting.com that Cineverse and Bloody Disgusting are excited to announce that Damien Leone's smash holiday slasher, keep that in mind, Terrifier 3 is returning to theaters for a limited run starting Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and you can get tickets at tickets.terrifier3.com. I figured I wanted to report that now because, it's Terrifier 3 set around Christmas time. This episode comes out December 22nd, so people hearing this have a little time to try to get their tickets. But something I thought was interesting, I never even picked up on this before, but it says Damien Leone's smash holiday slasher Terrifier 3. Now, it got me to thinking. I went down my own rabbit hole, and I was like, it's not really a holiday slasher. Terrifier 3 was built outside of a holiday. This one just happens to take place during Christmas time. Again, I haven't seen the movie, but when I read that, I thought, I wonder if they saw the success of Thanksgiving from Eli Roth, which kind of has the potential to reignite that holiday, actual real deal holiday slasher that's centered around not just happens during, like Die Hard happens during Christmas, so it's a Christmas movie kind of thing, or Cobra, I think, happens during Christmas, so it's a Christmas movie. So I just wonder if that's why they released it and put Art the Clown as Santa.
Well, I don't know what your next blurb is. I think I'll wait to see what that is. Is it Terrifier related?
No, it's not.
So what I saw this week from Terrifier, maybe fans that Terrifier 4...
It's supposed to be in outer space?
Well, I saw that a long time ago, but since then and this week, I've seen Terrifier 4 with an Easter poster background.
Ooh.
Some Easter-themed colors or the bunny or eggs. So I wonder if they're hinting at Art becoming a horror-themed holiday slasher. You imagine how far they could go with that? They could do Easter and maybe hit up Arbor Day, some of the lesser-known holidays that don't have the Halloween and the Christmas and the Friday the 13th.
It would be cool. So first of all, I hope they don't do that. You know what I mean? I hope they don't. It would be fun and it would be cool, but I hope they don't. But if they do that, I said do. They're 14-year-old boy humor. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was Brian, it was on Shudder. There was 2 of them. It was about a video store and they had a bunch of shorts.
Scare Package
and Scare Package 2. And I think it was in both of them where they had the one short where it was 4th of July and you kept blowing up the killer and he kept coming back and then you find out it was her brother and all this kind of stuff. But it was a great, fun, kind of laugh, gory look in the face of holiday slashers. And then there really are no 4. There's that Uncle Sam movie, but wouldn't it be cool if Terrifier does that, if they go that route and do so? You keep blowing Art up in different ways and he keeps coming back.
Or maybe even do one where it's short of Art getting killed on different holidays, just as like a teaser.
I know Stranger Things kind of loosely did this, and they would plan the release with like the one, I think it was episode or season 3, I could be wrong, but it came out around the 4th of July. So of course that season took place during the 4th of July, and the one was Halloween and stuff like that. I haven't seen it, but I just wanted Terrifier 3 to go back to just Art, no nonsense, just charge in the door and fuck you up, Well, my next blurb is quite a departure from everything we just talked about, and that is I learned from Collider.com that Pluto TV, they have or they will, but anyway, they're going to launch a Twilight Zone channel with 24/7 content. We talk about Pluto TV, probably not as much as we should because they always have cool stuff going on. Again, this was kind of timely for the holidays because the Sci-Fi Channel, I don't know if they still do it because I cut the cord a long time ago, but every New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, they did the Twilight Zone marathon. It was just episode after episode. But now you can go to Pluto TV for free and click on the Twilight Zone channel and watch whatever the hell you want to watch.
I think Pluto TV even had a Godzilla channel at one time, and they may even still have a Godzilla channel that's 24/7. But that Twilight Zone channel for people like you and I is, I'm going to bed. I want something on TV that I can watch, but I can also fall asleep to. And if you're me, you'd probably watch a couple episodes and fall asleep, but some people are going to stay up all night and watch the damn thing. The Twilight Zone is just comfort to me.
It is. It's like last night when I went to bed, I wasn't quite tired enough to fall asleep, but I wasn't awake enough to really stay up and do anything or invest my time into anything. So I popped on Peeping Tom, and I started watching Peeping Tom, and I fell asleep. Or the weekend before, I always do with the original Night of the Living Dead. It is that comfort film. Now, Twilight Zone, for me, I have a habit of I put that on, and I'm like, I'm just going to watch an episode. Like when I want to watch Bob Ross and relax and fall asleep, but I put that on, and then, I'm up till 4 in the morning, like just clicking to the next episode, clicking to the next episode.
Brings back fond memories of working on the psychiatric unit up by Chicago. We would listen to Twilight Zone radio every Saturday night on WGN radio. Midnight, I think it was, and it was just relaxing.
The cool thing is Pluto TV realizes that it's Christmas time, and so they're offering free Twilight Zones. And I wish there was some more free in the world because I don't mind paying my fair share, but I'm poor.
So on this episode of Why Are We Poor, I haven't showed movies or shared movies for a while, so I figured it's Black Friday. Shopping just got over and people are starting to get their stuff in from Black Friday, or maybe they've had a couple Christmases and gotten some stuff.
I've seen it all come through UPS. Whew, Jesus.
So the first thing is, this is from Vinegar Syndrome, Congo. Remember this movie about the monkeys or the apes?
Yeah.
And this is in a
far outside of my bag. The artwork's nice.
Cannibal the Musical.
I love that movie. I haven't seen that in years.
Sold out pretty well with the slipcover. It's got a hardcover and then a book.
Now that I think about it, besides like the remake of Annie, I think it's the last musical that I've even been aware of.
And then this was my subscriber stuff. This one looks fun. Blood Tracks.
Looks like a vampire biting the neck in the snow, and that looks like Elvira's hot sister who plays guitar. Oh, it looks like one of the Hex girls from Scooby-Doo. Is that Sliver?
Sliver, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now I know what it is. I've heard of that, but I'm not for sure what it is. What's that from?
These are all from Vinegar Syndrome.
Vinegar Syndrome, okay.
It's a Paramount movie. It's got the Paramount logo on it. I mean, even Sliver has the Paramount logo on it. So it looks like they're getting a bunch of old Paramount stuff and re-releasing it. Our friend Justin Beam, I'm a Patreon supporter of his. He's teasing something big for his company, Reverend Entertainment, that's going to change everything that he does.
The second you said Paramount, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, would that be cool if he starts working with, Vinegar Syndrome and does a side label of Paramount stuff for them. What's the other company he works for? Shout Factory does a lot of Paramount stuff too.
I'm very curious to hear what it's going to be, because I got the impression that it was out, because he's worked with TerraVision and like you say Paramount and Shout Factory or Scream Factory, and I just got the impression that it's something different.
And then they sent me a Congo sticker and a popcorn bag.
Popcorn bag's cool.
And then I did order from our friends at Severin. I'm waiting on that shipment to come in, so that'll be something I'll be sharing eventually. Got some cards from Super 7 I'll share later, and some Fright Rags cards.
You won't be getting that because I actually saw it come through UPS and I just took it.
Oh, you're like, oh, here you go.
I let you borrow it every once in a while.
I'll just report it lost and they'll just resend it.
Yeah, see, everybody wins.
So what'd you get? Anything cool?
Holy shit, it's Christmas time. So I'm just poor because of that. Keep referring to UPS because it is a bigger part of my life this time of year, because it's a bigger part of everybody's life this time of year. So I am very thankful for that job. I kind of joke about it. I've been there 25 plus years. It makes it so I don't have to worry about Christmas, and thankfully so, because it is Christmas time and I am handing out money. But on top of that, I finally invested in a new computer, so I can now record, which I know, pull back the curtain, you guys listen and probably don't care a whole lot, but where I was set up to record before was in the Ink Bears shop, which is in my basement, and so I'd always have to plan recording times around when the kids want to shower and when the hot water heater is going to go off. Now I'm in this new room, so if I sound different and it's echoey, that's why. Long time coming. It's going to free up a lot of time and make life easier. So, and then lastly, the only reason I'm poor, and this isn't even a big deal, but if you remember the last episode when we covered Black Christmas, when we had Joe the psychologist on from Horror Fiend TV, I talked about Spooky Pinball putting out the Evil Dead pinball machine.
Groovy.
888 of them. I want one. I want one real fucking bad. But I couldn't justify spending the money, at least not right now. With my business out to, Honey in the Hills and psychotherapy, I could make my money back off it over a period of time, but I just couldn't. Long story short, I don't have their name in front of me. That's a terrible thing of me. But there is a pinball company. It's a charity, and they do raffles for pinball related things, a lot of times machines, and then the money that they collect goes towards, and this one was going towards, it was something to do with kids. I should have wrote all this down so it was in front of me. But anyway, I'll make sure to tag them on the I Like a Spooky Horror Podcast Facebook page, so anybody interested, because they have other raffles going on. So I shelled out some money to get an entry into winning the very first Evil Dead pinball machine that Spooky puts together. And I'm excited because as of this recording, 8 o'clock tonight is the live drawing, and I get to see if I win or not. I probably won't because I never win anything. But the cool thing is, well, it was like $130 for an entry, and it goes to a good cause. Which, trust me, it was a good cause. I just can't remember right now exactly what it was. So hopefully I do. That would be so cool. I got a spot cleared out in my basement.
Leave it at home for a couple months and then take it out there and make your money back.
That's kind of what I thought, in all honesty, is once I do get psychotherapy up and running, then go ahead and take it out there, because I'll be out there all the time anyway. So I'm going to wind up being like Squidward in that episode where they get the skill crane at the Krusty Krab, and I just spend all my money on that.
Squidward, do you want to win or not?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Squidward, put your quarter in.
But
This is my last quarter.
In the machine, Squidward.
Well, you're going to need more money because you're going to need cameras and security so that no one takes your Evil Dead pinball machine.
You know, it's going to be wrapped and encased in barbed wire.
How are people going to play it then?
Well, they got to pay me a fee to remove the barbed wire. Shit's expensive.
Barbed wire?
No, the machine. Well, yeah, the machine, the barbed wire, the padlocks, the sharks with freaking laser beams on their head that'll be surrounding it. Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a hefty bill, so we should probably take it to a sponsor.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everybody! Cool. Well, it's that time of year again when you, my friends, get to shell out all your hard-earned cash buying presents for people you don't even like. Why not buy them?
The I Like It Spooky Horror Podcast promotional bundle, which includes 2 t-shirts, a 1 1/4-inch button, a round 3-inch sticker, a round 3-inch magnet, and an official I Like It Spooky Horror Podcast matchbook. Grab your spooky bundle while supplies last over at inkmirrors.com.
It's the perfect gift for that special someone or something. Oh, Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, ha, ha, ha. Merry Christmas, spend more money. Merry Christmas, right this way. Ha, ha.
So now that we've heard from our sponsor, it's time for our short films.
2 for the price of 1.
And we're covering the 2001 It's Me, Billy, and then the 2024 It's Me, Billy Chapter 2.
Hello?
Please help me. Make it stop.
Who the hell is this?
It's me, Billy.
It's Me, Billy is hands down. I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more. It is the best fan film I have ever seen. And so for people who haven't seen it or don't know what it is, It's Me, Billy and It's Me, Billy 2 are free on YouTube fan films, but they are unofficial sequels to the movie we covered last episode with Joe the Psychologist from Horror Fiend TV, and that is Black Christmas. Now, real quick, we attempted to get co-writer, co-director, and voice of Billy, Dave McRae, on the show, but scheduling conflicts blocked our call. Dad jokes rule. We unfortunately couldn't set a time that worked for all of us. But another way you can see Dave is by watching the Nightmare on Elm Street new Nightmare fan film Dylan's Nightmare, also free on YouTube, in which Dave plays a very believable Freddy Krueger. Have you seen that yet, Brian?
No, I haven't seen that. I'm saving it because I think we're going to bring Dave on eventually. That's something we could watch and talk about. It's a great idea.
Agree completely. So to direct people to see that now before we do get a chance to catch up with him down the road and bring him on, the Freddy he plays in there, it's not so much the wisecracking, kind of mainstream Fred, but it's more the dark New Nightmare version, which is the world that fan film lives in. So definitely go check out Dylan's Nightmare, but not before you check out It's Me, Billy, the best fan film ever made, and It's Me, Billy 2.
So It's Me, Billy follows the granddaughter of Jess from the original film.
Spoiler alert, that means that Jess did survive. Joe the Psychologist, Jess survived, and the baby did too from Black Christmas.
She had a baby who had a baby, and Jess became a writer, an author, and she told the story of what happened that night, and eventually got to the point where it was like the public life was too much. So she moves out into the country, into this beautiful home, but she's missing and presumed dead, or they say she's dead. I mean, they pretty much say she's dead.
Yeah, and then it wasn't until part 2 where, and maybe I didn't catch it in part 1 because I was so tied up in the beautiful cinematography and sound design, and it's such a good movie. You do not watch part 1 and feel like you're watching a fan film. But it wasn't until around the part 2 where they alluded to that Jess was now missing because she was presumed dead because there was a car wreck and they couldn't find the body and the car exploded, I think, and so they just presumed her dead.
They did not mention it in the first one. I just thought maybe she died of old age. That's why they were going to the house. I don't even know that they said she was missing in the first one.
No, they didn't. Yeah, you just got the impression that she had passed away. That was my only issue. This is the one ding I'll say about part one. It was the very beginning. Although I loved the acting, I loved the setup of the story being told between the discussion of the girls, and they, it was well done. But why were they just sitting alongside the road? I thought that was weird. That was the only, and I know this is the dumbest little hiccup, but the movie starts with the three young ladies, one of them being Jess's granddaughter, sitting alongside the road and having this discussion, setting up the story, and then they drive off.
We've talked a lot about not ruining this for people, but where do we go from here?
There's no way to discuss this film unless we end this right now without ruining it. So I'm going to go over some points, and I am going to give some spoilers away, but I've tried to do it in a way which doesn't give too much away. But there's stuff about this film that if you're not interested, once you hear this stuff, in my opinion, you will be, especially if you're a Black Christmas fan.
And if you are interested, pause this episode, go watch It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, and then come back and finish the show.
Yeah, we'll wait. In fact, we're going to play Silent Night right now from the original, and we'll just listen to that and have some eggnog. Go ahead. Okay, now that you've seen the fan films, this isn't going to be so much of a spoiler. Before we get into kind of the discussion of the breakdown of the film, I just want to talk about that I saw in the Internet Movie Database that It's Me, Billy, the first one, was nominated for Best Cinematography in the Dramatic Short category at the 65th Annual Canadian Society of Cinematographers.
That's a big deal.
Now that you've paused the podcast here and went and watched it, you have to agree. It's beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's well written. It's well acted. It's not a short. It's not an indie film to me. I mean, if you put these two together, it plays like a studio movie.
It does. And it's interesting. So Rebecca's brother just sent us, or actually I think he gave it to us when he was here last. We finally watched it a couple nights ago. I forget what it's called, but it's like the Master Pumpkin Cut or whatever. But it's Halloween and Halloween 2 with all of the additional scenes that were put in there for TV, all edited together in one movie. And it was kind of fun to watch the seamless end from one go into part two. And that's how It's Me, Billy and It's Me, Billy 2 plays. It's seamless. 2 picks up right where 1 left off. It's just beautiful. I will say that although It's Me, Billy 1 chapter 1 is my favorite fan film, I don't feel it played like a fan film. 2 was great as well, but I just feel that 2, it played more like a fan film than the first one. It had the callbacks of of course it was crowdfunded and you had the missing posters on the wall, and there was a lot of dialogue for explanation. So it was a great movie, but it felt more fan filmy to me.
Yeah, and I don't know if they had to do that for budget restrictions, to get more funding, because it looks like they poured a ton of money into this film. And maybe they didn't. Maybe they're just that good at doing these things. The ending kind of led it to be more fan filmy to me. I wanted to see more at the end, more of, Billy and more of blood and guts, maybe. I don't know.
This did have more blood and guts than Black Christmas, but still it was really reserved. It stayed true to Bob Clark's vision, I think. You're talking about budget. It's Me, Billy Chapter 1 had a $60,000 budget, and It's Me, Billy Chapter 2 had a $140,000 budget. But you're talking about budgetary and the story ending at part 2. If you flip back, go to part 1, I thought they could have ended part 1 with the death reveal of the girl in the back seat. And then you hear and this is where I'm going to get kind of cryptic because I don't want to give too much away, but you hear a woman call out and she's like, Billy, and then you see this death reveal. And the way they did it looked to me like they shot it so they could end it there if maybe the $60,000 budget couldn't take them any farther.
And that's what I said when I was watching it. I was like, oh, they should have ended it there. And then they don't, but then they end it in another spot that is a perfect ending to the first one.
What's going to be interesting is if this actually gets turned into, I hate saying this stuff about especially really good fan films, if it gets turned into a legitimate sequel, because it is an unofficial sequel because it's a fan film. But the Internet Movie Database says that part 1 was not only a fan film, but that the unofficial sequel also acts as a concept for a feature film. Now, after watching both 1 and 2 together, the story possibly could have been fleshed out a little more, but you do get a complete, satisfying story.
They're, an hour and 42 and 40 some, so like an hour and 20 some minutes with the credits. So you could add maybe another 20 minutes of story or something in there, and you're still under 2 hours. You're maybe an hour and 40 minutes, which is plenty long. One of the things that I wouldn't say it's a disservice just for you and I, but we're in the world of fan films and we know about a lot of things, is to where the missing posters in a movie, like if this was a movie, would be people's family members from the cast or the cast that's not on scene, the cameraman or something. We know those are people that more than likely paid to have their face on the posters, and a lot of people wouldn't know that. To us, we see it and we know what it is, but most people are going to see it and just be like, oh, random pictures of people on a wall.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So this isn't much of a spoiler alert, but I will let you know that there was so much detail in the sound design. I thought very much in Black Christmas that the snowy wind was very much a character of the film, and it was it was very present. And also the ominous piano sound score, it kicks in the second we see through the killer's eyes looking into the house in part 1. And that brings me to something I didn't get a chance to bring up last episode when we talked about Black Christmas, but I thought it was a phenomenal artistic choice of Bob Clark to choose that off-key, almost like sinister piano music to represent the killer in the original, because Jess's boyfriend, who is portrayed as the possible killer in that movie, is a stressed out pianist, and you see his audition for whatever people there at the college, and it's very this frantic piano piece. And I just thought it's cool that same sound, it gets carried over into these fan films.
You get more of the story, and you get some of the returning characters that are tied to the original film, but not really tied to the original film. I think they did that well. They brought in characters that are part of that universe and tie them to the people killed in the house, but they're not from the original film.
Even the casting of Victoria Merrow as Sam, Jess's granddaughter, such a smart choice. I believed physically that she was Olivia Hussey's granddaughter, and plus she was a great actress. And speaking of smart casting choices, Olivia Hussey was set to reprise her role as Jess Bradford, but unfortunately she had to pull from the project due to health issues, and the filmmakers cast Lisa Kovac, who is more believable, more than believable, not more believable than Olivia, but she was more than believable in the role of Jess. It was a great casting call.
Yeah, and if you don't know who the actors and actresses are, you would not know that's not the same person.
No, not at all.
I mean, there's enough years have gone by that most people don't even know what Olivia Hussey looks like, probably.
Oh, well, in fact, I knew when I watched part 2 the other night, I'm like, okay, but I didn't know all the details. I was like, I think she had to pull out, but I can't remember. And so then I'm watching, I'm like, wait, is that her? Did she pull out? No, you're right. I didn't know because I wasn't for sure. They also cast, this was a great call, Lynn Griffin, who played Claire in the original 1974 Black Christmas. She was, of course, who was suffocated and put in the rocking chair in the attic, the iconic poster. Well, she now plays her sister in It's Me, Billy, too.
Maybe they were twins. No, not really. But yeah, that was great casting. And she was so good. She's probably my second favorite character. My favorite character is the detective. That one scene, the detective, she goes to talk to the detective about Jess still being alive. And I just was like, this guy's fucking great. It's every detective in every horror film. No, she's dead. I was just like, this is so good.
He didn't give a shit. Later on, there's a scene that you would think he would get out of his vehicle to go address some issues going on. And he just sits there. He just sits in the car. He's like, no, I'm not getting out. I know this is a bunch of shit going on here, but here's another little ding. I thought her character was given too much dialogue that posed as explanation to fill us in on the last 50 years. But I mean, rightfully so, since she's a legacy character and the actual actress from the original. Not to mention, like you just said, her performance was great.
I think one of the issues you'd run into if you made this a feature and put it out is there's been, Black Christmas, there's been a couple remakes or redos. So you have to pull that generation back to the original, newer people that are coming in and try to clean up some of this other stuff that's been put out.
I mentioned that I thought that part 2 felt more of a fan film than part 1, but there were some standout scenes in part 2, and this is where I'm sort of getting into spoiler territory. So if you didn't listen to Brian's thing earlier to say pause, then we'll give you a chance to pause again. This was such a standout scene in part 2, where you witness Billy's multiple personalities personified at the dining room table. It was such an awesome scene. And something that I thought was cool about that was another thing they carried over from the original that, again, I forgot to bring up while we discussed the original last episode. During Billy's phone calls in the original and even into these fan films, they're so all over the place and manic, and you hear the different voices. Real subtle in the original and in these, they carried it over, is he says, please help me, please make it stop. So it's like there's a real person in there, like aware that this is all insane and just wants help.
Well, and again, if we're spoiling it, Billy's a puppet. Billy's told what to do.
Maybe. It appears so. He's controlled. When you get into the fan films, there's more explanation, but yeah, it's like he's controlled.
But it may be the night of the original Black Christmas Christmas. He wasn't controlled, and you never really know why any of it happened. You still don't know why, which is great. I don't need to know why. I don't need to know any reason why the original happened. You get more of why this one happened and why they're trying to stop Jess from doing anything that she's doing. There's so many questions still after all of this.
Well, and I'm glad that they did that because there was no way not to do this, and I'm not mad about this, but one of the reasons I'm such a fan of Black Christmas is because, like I talked about, it leaves the decisions up to you. Was it her boyfriend? Was it not her boyfriend? Is Billy real? Was she pregnant? You know, did the babies, all that stuff, it leaves it up to you. Then you get in these fan films, and especially towards the end of part 2, it kind of spells some stuff out and puts some periods on some things for you, which it ruined it for me a little bit because, again, I'm such a fan of the movies because I can make up my own mind, and now that part's gone. But yeah, they did leave enough mystery to where they could go into a third fan film, or they could do maybe perhaps like a prequel between Black Christmas and It's Me Billy 1, because there's things that are referred to in the story, like a scene where he was picked up and found naked, covered in blow.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah,
That's White Christmas.
naked, covered in blood in the snow, and then taken to a psychiatric ward. So what happened during those 50 years between movie 1 and movie 2? And who is this woman character? Is it his sister? Yeah, they left it open with enough mystery. So
Yeah, because at the end of the chapter 2, is Billy alive?
you have to think no. I don't want to spoil this either, but I do want to say towards the end of It's Me Billy 2, there's a scene. There's a fight scene and potentially a death scene, but we don't really know. But what I think is interesting is all you ever see of Billy throughout this whole franchise is one eye. So I thought that the choice they made in that scene was really cool because there's one eye.
But you don't see his body.
Nope.
And it's taken the police 40 minutes or something like that to get to the house.
Hey, the detective doesn't want to even get out of the car.
You never see a dead Billy rolled out on a gurney.
No, but something I did catch is I watched to the end of the credits and you don't hear the phone ring.
Well, like they chopped all the phones up.
Yeah, no shit. Again, Brian, you and I talked before we hit record about trying not to spoil this movie for people, and it's really hard. But I do want to say there are a ton of callbacks. I'm not going to spell them all out. I just want to say that if you're a fan of Black Christmas, watch these movies. You will be thrilled. It's just jam-packed full of callbacks to the original. You can have a lot of fun looking for all the Easter eggs. There are many, both visually and verbally in the dialogue.
If you are a fan of Black Christmas or slashers in general, watch Black Christmas and then follow it up with these two. It's a perfect Saturday night during the holidays or a Friday night during the holidays. You're 3 hours in with all three, somewhere around there?
What's an hour and a half? And I suck at math. You know that. That's why I'm poor. Yeah, it's something like that. It's all fucking entertaining. I can tell you that much.
Definitely something you should watch.
Probably the weirdest thing about when I watched It's Me Billy 2 is, so I watched 1, I'm on YouTube, and it just went right into 2 for me. But then when 2 ended, it went straight to the SpongeBob Out of Water movie.
That is weird.
What? Yeah.
Not even like a SpongeBob Christmas or anything, huh?
It's Christmas. Be a jerk. It's Christmas. Don't be a jerk.
No, I figured it'd at least be Christmas, but it was not. I think the only thing weirder I can think than that is our podcast network. But first, should we rate this? How do we rate these?
I mean, I just came up with one rating. Usually we do 2, and I didn't even know what to say. I was like, what can I say that's funny? I guess I'll just go an 8 out of 10 pretty Agnes, because Agnes is pretty.
Ooh, there's a clue. Like a wart on the ass. Isn't that what it was? Agnes removed like a wart on
Something
the ass
like
or
that,
something?
yeah.
That was kind of weird.
That was.
I decided I was going to do 2 ratings, and in all reality, I didn't even write anything down, so this is very much on the fly. It's Me Billy 1, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 callbacks to the original. It was just fucking masterful. And both of them, well shot. Sound design carried over. Dave McRae's voice acting, because he voiced Billy. He didn't physically play Billy. The things that we get to see of an aged Billy, just amazing. There was even a little thing with the sound design where Sam, who is Jess's granddaughter, she regains consciousness in a scene, and you hear the tinnitus, however you pronounce it.
Tinnitus.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like tits in her ears, and it's very present. So there was a lot of thought and care and love and passion that went into these. And then if I'm going to go It's Me Billy 2, I'm going to go 9 out of 10. And that is only because for me, it just felt a little more fan filmish. But if you put the whole thing together in a package, then what's that come out to? Like 9.879? No, wait, what's the fellatio number? 9.2 2880 or something like that. Yeah, definitely check these out.
Before we go to our podcast network, I want to give you a couple recommendations of movies you should watch if you enjoy this one. So the first one is from our friends, and I think we're even in this one at parts. It's a Valentine Bluffs, a fan film from 2003, and it's also free on YouTube.
2003?
2023.
I didn't even know you then.
I enjoy Valentine Bluffs. It's a continuation of My Bloody Valentine, the story. It adds some more. That one's another one that you're like, could it continue? Did it continue? Is it going to continue? What's going to happen here?
And full callbacks to the original, yeah.
And then the next one is another fan film, The Fall of Camp Blood. And that one stars our friend Brent Edgett as Jason.
I will go on record to say this because I'm not going to dote over everybody. I was not much of a fan of Fall of Camp Blood, but I am a huge fan of Brent's portrayal as Jason in that movie. I thought very few people, especially in the fan film world, have portrayed Jason as true as Brent did. So I think that was amazing. I wasn't a big fan of the movie and the editing and the story. I thought it was kind of clunky and weird. I think there's better Jason fan films. But yeah, Brent was amazing.
And then the last one is from 2024, and it's called Milk and Cereal. And that's more of a shot on video, found footage kind of thing. But it's one of the better shorts that I've seen probably ever. They're all free on YouTube. You can go check them all out. If you have a phone or a computer or anything, you can check out all of these films because they're free.
Kind of like our podcast network, the PFPN.
Yeah, it's free too. You imagine having to pay for it?
Fuck, I ain't paying for that shit.
Wait, we're on that channel. They should pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
So now that we've heard from our podcast network, it's time for This Day in Horror. And we're covering the dates December 22nd through January 4th, and there is not much.
A date which will live in infamy.
In 1932, you get The Mummy, starring Boris Karloff, and it's the first Mummy's Curse horror film, so that's important. In 1933, you get Son of Kong. In 1944, you get The Mummy's Curse, so another Mummy movie. And in 1995, you get Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Did you notice, because the last episode, I think The Wolfman you said came out, it seems like Universal released all their movies in December.
And then there was two Wolfmans on that one. On December 26th, you get Rodon in 1956. And then in 1973, you get The Exorcist, which is based on a screenplay by William Beatty Blatty, rated X.
Yeah, and that released The Exorcist. It was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
It was the day after, yeah. And it's the first horror film to be nominated for Best Picture. And then in 1980, you get Maniac. That's fun.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that not too long ago. I was like, this is fucking weird, but I like it.
I love it too. And then actually the remake with Elijah Burke was really good as well.
Oh, with Elijah Wood?
Yeah, Joe Spinell, who played the original Maniac, is just amazing. And you might, if you don't know what we're talking about, Joe Spinell had bit parts in the original Rocky. He was the guy who Rocky worked for. He was like the bookie that Rocky would go collect for. He's just kind of in those like early East Coast films.
And then on January 4th in 1973, you get Torso. Then you get the 2013 Texas Chainsaw Massacre release.
Yeah, I've seen worse.
And then in 2019, you get Escape Room. So yeah, outside of The Exorcist, I mean, The Mummy, Rodon, there's a couple things that are all right in there. Torso's fun.
There's probably all kinds of shit that gets released around this time of year that you guys would like to cover on the wrong podcast side.
Well, we just did a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which was Rod's pick.
Oh, well, what? Rod picked something decent? Get the fuck out of here.
He picked a Groundhog Day February also, and I was like, this is not even my top 5 Bill Murray movies. And he's like, really?
I'll have to listen to that episode to see if you guys talked about the theory that I told you about Groundhog Day, about Ned.
Oh, I forgot all about that, damn it.
Oh, it was the most important part of the movie.
So what do you got going on? Anything?
Let me think. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
So I don't have really anything going on.
Loser.
I mean, it's Christmas time. I'll be spending it with my family. There are a couple conventions coming up early in January. So if we tell you about them now, you have time to make your plans and go spend your Christmas money. We got Days of the Dead Los Angeles. That's January 17th through the 19th. The Plaza Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. And then Tampa Bay Screams is the 19th. And that's in Clearwater, Florida at the Roadhouse and Museum. And then a Creep Eye Econ is in Canada, January 31st through February 2nd at the Ontario Convention Center in Ontario, Canada. And then we get into February and it starts to pick up. Everybody will be poor and spending all their money at conventions. I just plan on staying home as much as I can and watching some horror movies and trying to stay off the internet and buying stuff.
Yeah, don't be like Joe from Horror Fiend TV and get drunk and just get an Amazon and wake up the next day and go, what did I just do? What did I just buy?
I guess that's maybe a good thing for us horror fans. A lot of the stuff that we buy isn't on Amazon.
That's true.
Yeah, we're maybe a couple websites removed from Amazon.
We're like the dark side of Amazon, like the dark web. We're like the dark Amazon.
So what do you got going on?
You know, I'm kind of like you, not a whole lot. It's by the time this episode comes out, it's like a couple days before Christmas, and so peak at UPS is kind of slowing down, pushing forward with stuff. I'm in the middle of redoing the costume room and makeup area at Haunting the Hills. I've assembled a new team. That's something I haven't talked about. I have enhanced and expanded the creative and build team. I'm very excited about the people that I brought on board. They bring with them theater experience and business experience and event experience, haunt experience outside of things that I'm, my wheelhouse, what I'm used to doing. So really excited about that. And I've got an event in the works coming up out to Haunting in the Hills, June 21st, 2025, which I know is a ways away, but I bring it up now because I'm focusing on getting that all planned and penned out. So I don't want to give too much about it away just yet because I don't have contracts signed or anything, but so that's going to take up some of my time. Come to find out, Haunting in the Hills, before I came along, they don't even have like a Google page. They just operate off a Facebook page. So I'm going to be spending some time at the computer, getting, just some technical stuff for them so we can be found. There were people who lived down the road who were like, I didn't know this fucking place existed. Last season, I put as far as the haunt side, I put work into throwing up fireworks and cutting down trees. Well, I didn't cut them. My business partner had someone do it. Letting people know the place is there and there's changes and bringing about the interest. And now it's time to get to the technical side and the heavy override side, kind of a maximum override of what we're going to be doing out there and put it into full gear. Maybe that was a clue. Teaser. I do want to talk about one show coming up. And again, this is a little ways off, but I mentioned it last episode, but it wasn't in front of me. And that is Dead of Winter Horror Festival 2025. It takes place at Mechanics Hall in Worcester, Massachusetts. That's February 22nd and 23rd, 2025, Dead of Winter Horror Festival. And I know about that because the Toxic Punks and the Toxic Angels are going to be there. So you can go to their sites on Facebook to find out more information about that. And other than that, it's just keep churning out all the great stuff that we do here on the I Like a Spooky Horror podcast. I've kind of planted a seed in Brian's head about maybe doing another fucking show. So who knows? We might be doing that.
You might get something every damn day from us. I feel like you do. If you go to our YouTube page or our Spotify page or any of our social stuff, there's something every day.
No, and I feel that it's something, a little something for everybody. At least I hope it is. And you know what? If there's something that you guys want to see from us or hear from us that we're not thinking about, unless your name is Chris Thurman or Tony, I don't know Tony's last name, then send us a suggestion. Email us at ilikeaspookypod@gmail.com or get a hold of Brian or myself or the I Like a Spooky Horror Podcast Facebook page. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think we've kind of been bouncing ideas off each other too about stuff at Haunting in the Hills. I can't make the one thing that's going on in June. I'll be in South Dakota for Finley's National Tumbling Meet if she makes it. I guess if she doesn't make the event, then maybe I can come.
Either way, we win.
That just means that I will have to plant seeds so we can get another thing going on up there so that we can come. Because we love our trips to Michigan, especially in the summer. I mean, we had such a blast last year, going to the lake and the zoo and all these other cool things. I would maybe summer in Michigan and winter somewhere else, because we've had like half an inch of snow and you guys have got blasted already.
Yeah, it's been cold more than anything. It went from 50 to fucking 20. Now today as we record, I think it's like 48 out. So when we get done, I'm going to go drain the hot tub finally, because it's sort of warm enough to do it. No, there's always cool stuff going on in Michigan. We're just fucking getting started out to hunting in the hills. I'll throw this out there because I mentioned it to Brian. I can't say what because I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but I was talking with Daniel Brown, who we interviewed here, I don't know, about 8 months ago or so on the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast. He's one of the showrunners of Motor City Nightmares that happens in Novi, Michigan. That's the end of July every year. And he told me the cast reunion that they're working on, which is going to be exciting for people like Brian who like cans of slop.
I love slop.
God damn.
Well, don't forget to like and subscribe to the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check out all of our socials. Come back for Indie Spotlight, Generational Trauma. Well, that's coming up at the end of the month, right?
There'll be a new... Wait, yeah, that's right. Let me look at my calendar. Yeah, so this episode comes out Sunday the 22nd and the 4th Tuesday. Oh, my God. So Generational Trauma comes out... Let me look at this again. You're going to be getting a Christmas gift because, oh, yeah, Generational Trauma Episode 2 comes out Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Generational Trauma, Indie Spotlight, The Wrong Podcast Died, Appendages, our YouTube, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, our Threads, our TikTok, all these places. And send us some money. We're poor. You can write it off, right? As a Christmas gift. I don't know how that works, but
donation. We should set ourselves up as a 501 nonprofit?
The Foundation for Missing and Exploited Podcasters.
That's us.
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's a goddamn Bruce Willis movie. So a yippee-ki-yay to all of you motherfuckers. Good night!